I have grown up and known your next speaker for my entire life.
I have built forts out of blocks with him in preschool. I have played numerous hours of football with him in elementary school. And I have experienced FFA with him in high school.
Your next speaker is a guy who is always willing to help.
Whether he's trying to teach you calculus or carrying you up 20 flights of stairs.
Or when I was in 7th grade and he taught me the proper way to sell FFA fruit so I wouldn't mess up the sales.
Your next speaker is a guy who always has a word of advice.
Even when that advice comes in the form of a question, allowing you to figure it out for yourself.
He is a guy that has given me advice that has got me through a lot of tough times, whether it is with girls or school.
Your next speaker is my big brother.
One of my best friends.
With his retiring address, your 2015-2016 State FFA Treasurer, Travis Trendle.
He breaks in a single man, one hammer and two hands. He begins with a nail and plan, still pushing through the wood grain. And all the racket he makes from his one-man crew, cause another man seeking a bill too. Now with 4 strong arms and one desire, now let's move along in double time. Yeah, brother, it's time to put your hands up.
When all of us were younger, we all had a favorite TV show. For me, that show was Bob the Builder. When I wasn't running around outside on the farm or having fun in school, I would run to the chance to see Bob, Wendy, Spud, Scoop, Muck, Lofty, and Rolly working on various projects. Some of my favorite episodes were the ones with Farmer Pickles and his tractor named Travis. I thought it was pretty fitting. Just like Bob, ever since I was younger, I have loved building things. From Legos to sandcastles, you can almost always find me building something or another. This love for building has been an important part of my life and has been vital to getting me to where I am today. We all build every day in one aspect or another. From building our minds to building a fort, from building our bodies to building a science project. There is great importance to building yourself, building together, and building others. Build yourself. As my mom kept telling me it was time to go, I reached down to tie my brand new pair of running shoes. My mom backed the van around the house. I ran out to meet her, hopped in the van, and we headed into school. Got to school, hopped out, ran in to say hi to my coach. I'm glad to see some new 7th graders, said my coach. Today was the first day of my 7th grade year cross-country practice. That was the first day that I would begin building myself to become a better runner. Now, the funny thing about running and many sports is that from one day to the next, you won't notice any difference in yourself. When you look at the beginning of the season to the end of the season, there's an obvious difference. By the time I reached my senior year track season, I had worked to set many personal records and even one school record. Building your confidence is powerful. Building your knowledge is impactful. Building on your strengths is what makes you the best you that you can be. Even though the importance of building yourself is great, even greater things start to happen when you build together. Together makes the impact of you greater. Build together. I remember a fall of my senior year, Eric, Matthew, and I were working on our physics ballista project. 3, 2, 1, fire! The pin was pulled, releasing the drawstrings, and the arm snapped forward, and the baseball flew through the air. Eric quickly reattached the drawstring, and I began cranking it back. 3, 2, 1, fire! We had just gotten done test firing our physics ballista project, which is basically an 8-foot tall crossbow. Now, many hours of designing, building, rebuilding, redesigning were put into this project before we got to the point where we could test fire it. One of those moments stuck out to me. It was getting pretty late in the night, and I finished screwing the last few screws of the piece that I was working on, and I turned to Eric. Eric, I think we should call it good for tonight. we've done plenty enough. Eric turned back. You can call it quits if you want, but I want to try to do one more piece. Are you sure? Yeah, I'd like to see what this other piece does. Now, I really wanted to be done in that moment, but something about Eric's desire to continue and build upon what we were working on, I picked up on. Now, each and every one of us can claim that we built pieces of this project ourselves, but not one of us can claim that we built that whole ballista by ourselves. One of the greatest things about building together is when we have the encouragement of others, such as Eric had on me in that moment. Together makes the impact of you greater. You and I both have areas that we excel in, and you and I both have areas that we don't. But when we build together, that is when we can create truly great things. Even as I try to wrap my mind around the possibilities of growing together, when we take that one step further and build for others, is when we can truly see the influence that we will have. Build others. A car thrown into a billboard, leveled lots once covered in buildings, lawns stripped of their topsoil, a hospital picked up, moved 6 inches, and set back down on its foundation. I sat and listened to these stories from the homeowner of the house that we were working on. It was the summer after Joplin, Missouri had experienced a Category 5 tornado which had basically destroyed most of the city. I and a group of volunteers from Lanesboro, Minnesota, were working in the rebuilding process. What was our task? Our task was to bring in 7 to 8 dump truck loads of topsoil after we had cleared the lawn and seed the lawn for grass to grow. I remember our task manager coming in from the local area at one point and looking around. I'm amazed at how fast you guys are getting this job done. Your work is so strong and so fast. Now, we had to find other projects for us because we got done in 2.5 days, which was originally supposed to take us a week. Now, later that night, we were sitting around the campfire. I was trying to decide what it was about us that made us work so hard. As I know it is for myself, as it is with many others, the ability to create and build for others fueled my work ethic and my desire to create something more. We have come from building ourselves, building together, and building others. And now we are building others. One of the greatest things about building others is that we can take our reach so much further than we originally could. Pretty soon the people we build for will start building for others, and that domino effect will begin. Now, when you want to build things, there are certain tools that you're going to need. One of the best tools that I have found this year, almost everyone in this room has with them right now, or has had one of these in the past, and that tool is the FFA jacket. What started back in 1928 with a group of farm boys looking for a way to build themselves, turned into them building this great organization together, enabling thousands to build others. Now, when I first came across this tool, I definitely wasn't sure exactly how to use it or the impact that it would have. But it has allowed me to build my confidence, my speaking abilities, my knowledge, my passion for agriculture, and my friendships. Now, in each one of these stories, building yourself, building together, and building others, so much more than my running abilities, a ballista, and a lawn were being built in each one of those situations. When I was working on building my running abilities, I was also building my confidence, building my friendships, and building my leadership. While Eric, Matthew, and I were working on building that ballista, we were also building together, building our knowledge, and building our skills. And when we were building that lawn, we were also building safety, building compassion, and building hope. Google defines building as to construct something typically large by putting little bits and pieces together over time. Now, what building really comes down to in each one of these situations is when we take the little things that we gain and put them together. And that is when we can create something we truly can be proud of. What are you building? What will you build with those around you? What are you going to build for others? I can't wait to see. Build yourself, build together, build others.
Travis, your dedication to FFA members, our team, and supporters across the state has been incredible this year. You have helped us as a team build over this last year, and you've helped Minnesota FFA members build. We thank you for all of your support and leadership this year. Together forever, Morgan, PJ, Mariah, Sam, and Madison. FFA members, advisors, and guests, your 2015-2016 Minnesota FFA State Treasurer, Mr. Travis Trundle.